Hello, everybody. Hi, how we doing? Happy Thursday. I knew what day it was. I never know what day it is. It's hilarious whenever I do these lives. How you guys doing? What's happening? Hi, guys. So good to see you. Nadine. Oh, my goodness. So nice to have you here. Whew, how we doing, guys? What's been going on? So I have my new setup finally. I finally managed to redo my room, which has been taking forever. And ironically, I had two of these and the one above collapsed. So at least the priority one is stable, hopefully. So if it collapses during the live, don't be surprised. Melissa, so nice to meet you. Welcome to the family. Joanne, morning. So nice to meet you guys. Thank you so much for the new people who have joined. How exciting. Hey, love. How you doing? What's been going on? What's happening, y'all? Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's get into it, guys. I think we should just dive in today. First time as well, Robin. Welcome. Oh my goodness, I've got a ton of new timers, guys. This is gonna be fun. I'm excited. Okay, so welcome. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jacqueline. I do these hopefully once to twice a week, depending on my schedule. I am a busy girl, I do a lot of things, but I make time for my people. I need this connection. I need this community. I love Inside Timer. I love you all so much for being here. It is just such a powerful community where people support each other. I love the vibe. I love the energy of Inside Timer. So essentially how my readings work are very, very simple. I'm going to start off with a group reading so everybody gets something, and it usually kind of sets the tone as well for other people's readings. You often find that the group reading resonates usually, and oftentimes it sometimes falls into like the one person reading. It's like an extension of that. And then I will give one-on-ones. So if people give a donation, I will essentially give you a much longer reading, and you basically lock your position in. If no one gives a donation, no problem at all, of course. I will just take questions. And also I'm open to talk even just about spirituality or anything at all. This is just a very open place. So feel free to ask. But I'm just going to give it a couple more seconds to see a few more people who will be joining. And if you guys tried to join yesterday, I'm sorry, but I was trying to finish my room and I wasn't going to have enough time to do both. So I had to prioritize my space. I've been cleansing out my energy. I redecorated my kitchen, and today I redecorated my office. For those of you who don't know, I have a rescue. So I have a rescue in my office. Okay, so if I turn this around, there's a lot of cages around here. Okay, so it was just getting a little bit too chaotic. I felt obviously suffocated. As much as I love my babies, it's just I needed a little bit of this to feel like I'm organized and focused. So I finally got it done. So I'm happy about that. It's also to display all my merch and all my stuff. But yes, and also it's kind of like an altar, I think, if you really think about it. That's really what I did. It's like my altar ego, probably more than anything else, but I'll go with that. All right, guys. So I invite you all just to take a minute and just to focus. If there's anything that you need help with right now, you can also receive it through the group reading. If not, like I said, I'll take questions later anyway. But let's just all connect our energies and just take a moment to vibe, if that's even a thing. I think it's a thing. Okay. So, by the way, I would like to mention, guys, I have a new course out on Inside Timer. I should know what it's called, but it's something about awakening your psychic gifts. I made it complicated, whatever. But the thing is, it's awesome. It's very good for you guys to essentially amplify your spiritual gifts. Or if you think you don't have any spiritual gifts, it's a great one to help you understand what those are, because everybody does, okay? So essentially, it's all about the clairaudient, clairsentient, claircognizant, clairvoyant. Someone has something else. I forgot. I think there's four. There's only four. I was right. So that's essentially what it focuses on. So yeah, sorry guys, I'm just picking the cards. For those of you who don't know, I have a lot of decks. So I tend to go with the one where I feel heat or cold in the palm of my hands. And that's how I choose my cards. Okay, so let's see what the collective. I see new people joining. Welcome, guys. Are you guys excited for the weekend? I'm going away. I'm laughing because I don't remember the name of things. Like, I'm the worst person. I'll just go somewhere like, yeah, I don't care where I'm going. Where are you going? I don't know, but it's like 2.5 hours away. That's what I'm like. Anyway, it's like a wine country, place, whatever. Oh my God, I'm terrible at this today. I've been there before. San Robles or something. Maybe I'm like butchering it. Anyway, who cares? The point is, I'm going there with some friends. It's going to be fun. Looking forward to it, just to take a break away from LA. And yeah, celebrating a friend's birthday. So I always have to leave my animals with somebody, so that always makes me a little bit nervous, because Mama Bear here is very protective of her babies, but it's only going to be 2 days, so they should be okay. But yeah. Woo! Hello. Okay, well, that was quick. We got already 3 cards here. Okay, so these guys take a little bit longer sometimes to come out, just because it's the sample pack that I bought, and cards aren't as smooth than these ones. Okay. And of course they drop all the time when I do this. Ooh, wow. Okay, so we got a few major arcanas here. Damn. All right. So, let's tune in. Okay, so we got the swamp people, okay, guys? So the swamp people... Thank you, Paso Robles, Chandra. Thank you so much. Oh my God, you're amazing. See, I rely on you guys to know what I'm doing, because clearly I don't. It's an amazing place. Highly recommend. It's beautiful. Okay, guys, so we got the swamp people, okay? So the swamp people are here basically to help you see beyond the surface, okay? You may be projecting your own fears or desires, clouding your true perception of a situation or someone. This card reminds you to judge by actions, not by words, okay? It also is a call for a deeper connection with your tribe or chosen family. Okay, so I find that this is very much a theme a lot of the times, especially when people are in relationships and they are having a hard time knowing if this is the right person, or hoping that a person's going to change, or are they going to become the one. Hey, mate. How you going, Alicia? That's a cool name to spell your name. Alicja. That's cool. So one of the things I always say about finding people's true intention is always by their action, not their words. Okay? So when somebody is, well, this will tell you also about somebody who's really, really honest. Is somebody who does things and doesn't spend 3 hours, hey, AJ, New Mexico, doesn't spend time explaining or trying to convince you of anything. They just do it, okay? So for those of you that are questioning this kind of situation with somebody, or even a situation, right? It doesn't even have to be a person. Could be a business, could be anything else. If you're feeling like the person's doing a lot of the talking but not a lot of action, that should tell you something, okay? Now, it doesn't mean it's a red flag or anything. It might just simply mean just pay attention, or just notice, or if you need reassurance, this is one of the ways to find it. The swamp people are also about don't judge a book by its cover. So really get to know somebody or a situation before you jump to conclusions. Okay, so it's also sometimes like give it a bit of time before you make up your mind. Next, we got the forest fairies. Okay, so the forest fairies, I remind you to stay true to your nature, walk your own path, even when it feels easier to follow the crowd. You are meant to live authentically, not to fit into expectations that don't align with your soul. Sorry, I'm laughing at myself. Follow what fills your heart and fuels your purpose. At the same time, be mindful of self-sabotaging behaviors that may be holding you back. Trust yourself, embrace your uniqueness, and allow your spirit to flourish freely. So this is really a card about being authentic to yourself. The forest fairies, by the way, this is really incarnated souls. Okay, these are the tree huggers. They're a specific type. These people are incredible at they're meant to be here to protect nature, but they're also very social creatures. And the issue with them sometimes is that they get caught up because they need their social interaction, and they sometimes get caught up in the wrong crowd, and then of course end up going down the wrong road. So that's very symbolic about what this is going on, right? And this is also referring to the situation. Hey Jackie, how you doing? So essentially, be true to yourself. Don't veer off the path just because you want to belong, just because you want to be a part of the crowd, maybe a business or a job. Okay, ask yourself truly, is this compromising my morals? Is this making me act out of character? Am I doing things that aren't really in alignment with who I am, with what I want? So be very mindful of this, because this is really going to tell you a lot about where you're going or where you want to go. The next, we got the Mer Fairies. Okay, so the Mer Fairies are all about feeling a little bit lost. So I feel like some of you, I keep getting this feeling about being unsure, not knowing what to do. Should I go left? Should I go right? I'm a bit confused. I don't have enough information. So I'm getting a lot of that all together. But this is all about nothing can be truly lost. Just be patient. With time, you will gather enough information. With time, you will understand what actions to take. But as of now, you need to just possibly just take a step back and observe. Just notice what's going on. Get inventory, if that makes sense. Next one, we got 3 major arcanas in a row, which is crazy. So we got the Temperament, we got Tradition, and then we got the Magician. So again, the Temperament, the Hermit. Why did I say Temperament? Oh, because I do have a card of that one. So the Hermit, again, it's about returning back to the womb, okay? Returning back into that stillness, that quiet, reconnecting to yourself, to your nature, to the universe, having your spiritual practices, rebalancing yourself, okay? But that takes quiet time. That takes stillness. My guinea pig just knocked over my drink. Iggy! You think it's funny, don't you? Oh. All right, sorry guys, give me 1 second, because there's just drink on the floor. You thought that was funny, Iggy, didn't you? All right. Sorry about that, guys. He enjoys knocking over my drink whenever it's on the floor. Yeah, he's a character, that one. That's for sure. He's got big personality. Little body, big personality. Okay. So it's about calling in that stillness. I've had, especially in my meditation classes lately, I've been feeling like a lot of people, especially because of the energies that have been changing lately. We've had a few eclipses. We had new moon, full moon. I don't know what's going on, but all this planetary stuff. So a lot of people are feeling these changes, immediate changes, intense changes. And when you're going through this, your system, it's not like it's weaker, but it's a little bit more fragile. And then you add on already the energies of this world, which are intense, okay? Especially with what's going on with the news. I mean, especially if you watch the news. I mean, you cannot help but being affected or influenced by some of this. Anything like this, it just starts affecting your way of thinking and your peace and your mind. And so this is, again, it's what it's about. Like, take some moment to really just focus on the things that matter to you. Take yourself away from the things that are taking you away from the things that matter to you. And this is something that I've been doing. Like, I've been just very focused, like I said, cleaning my room, not being on social media, listening to music, doing my practices in the morning, really centering myself. And that's when I notice that the miracles happen. That's when I notice the little magic that's happening, right? And when I'm in that chaos, there's no room for that to come in. So this is a little reminder for you guys. And again, I feel like a lot of you are feeling like you're missing out on something, like there's something bigger out there, or like it's too late for something. Like, I'm getting a lot of this, like, I guess nostalgia is probably a word, like feeling like there's something else. So again, this is where you're going to find it. Thank you, Nadine. Got you down. So just take the time. Again, you're not going to find it from the outside. You really got to go within you, okay? When you go within yourself, when you find that stillness, when you keep your practices up, that's when you become stronger and more powerful than the outside world. Stronger and more powerful than the collective. That's when you start affecting the outside and not the outside start affecting you, and which means that's when you start manifesting. That's when you start creating things. I'll give you a pure example. Like, I spent a lot of money the last few days on fixing my house, paint, things, all this sort of stuff. I'm like in an abundant mindset. I like know I can manifest money whenever I need to. And it's ironic because then a job just popped up all of a sudden once I spent the money. And even though it wasn't fulfilling the total amount, I was like, thank you. That's really nice to get a little bit out of nowhere, you know, but I'm like, I know it's going to come. So even recognizing the little things, the little miracles, the little gifts, okay, it's so important, because sometimes we're like, oh, well, that's not enough. That's not enough money, you know, and we don't know where that's going to go. We don't know where that's going to take us. You know, this could be leading to multiple jobs. Maybe, maybe not. Doesn't matter. I don't have any attachment to it. But the point is, we also, during this time, recognize the good things that you have. Like I said, the second shelf that I built up here collapsed. And my friend who was here, who helped me build all of this, like, she was so upset. And and fair, I was like, you know, oh man, that sucks. Because like then I had a hole in the wall, and obviously we didn't have the display that we wanted. But then I noticed that she kept holding on to it, and I said, girl, it's fine. You know, it's like, it's probably meant for a reason. Like, who cares? The important thing is, look how lucky I am. The bottom shelf stayed. You know, if it was the bottom shelf, then yeah, but like it wasn't. So I always try to see the positive in things, even when things don't look great. And finally, guys, it's the Magician card. The Magician card is really here. Oh, Patush, nice to see you. Nice to meet you. Welcome from New Zealand. Love it. The Magician is a reminder of the magic within you. It's a reminder of your ability to co-create. It's a reminder that you do have power. But not when, again, you focus on the chaos, on the negativity, on the things that aren't working for you, because that just amplifies everything. So where do you have power? Another example is, like, I did a meditation class the other day, and I had one of my clients who's usually very centered and very balanced and very calm, and she was not doing well that day. She was very much heightened up emotionally. There was a lot going on for her. And I could feel it, you know, I could feel she was like suffering at the moment. She just had one thing after the other also going wrong in her life, you know what I mean? It was just a lot of things that were happening. And I told her, okay, so let's get into the meditation. And once we got into the meditation, by the end of the meditation, she started crying, you know, and she was like, oh, I feel like so much better. And I was like, that's where you hold your power. And I was like, we can't control the outside. We can't control the news. We can't control the government. We can't control people. But we can control this moment, and we can control ourselves, and we can choose where to bring our focus in this moment. And it takes the stillness, the going within, and the practices. If you don't do these, they're going to run the show. Now, even if it is temporary, that temporary piece is going to have a ripple effect outside. But if you don't take that moment, you're just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse until you explode, and then you reset. So again, this is the time to keep those practices, to remind yourself that you have power. And how? By going within and taking those moments for yourself. Okay, so I just bought these little lights, and I just realized, I don't know, that one's, it doesn't make any difference. That's funny. All right, anyway, cool. So let's go. So Nadine gave me a donation, so she's going to be first. And I'm just going to quickly read what you guys said, because I was in the flow. Resonates so much. Have had such a hard time recently. Yeah, I know a lot of people have, honestly. It's been interesting to see how many people. I've had, honestly, most of my friends, I have been really struggling lately. Like everybody, I have people who are not working because they're in the acting industry, the film industry. And editors and stuff, and they're not working. They have been having health things and this and this and that. And then, you know, like I said, it seems like everybody's going through something right now. So again, it's almost like you can be part of that, or you can choose to step out, you know. And how do you do that is by, again, doing the practices and everything that I just said. I'm telling you, you know, I think the only reason why I haven't been affected is because of those practices and because of those choices that I make. And again, doesn't mean I'm immune to negative things and bad things, but it definitely brings me a lot more peace and a lot more ease when I do these things. Feel like it is the emotional realization and purge end. Yeah. Okay, cool. So Nadine, you gave a donation, my love. So the floor is yours. How can I help you? What is your question? What are you looking for? Half of my drink is on the floor. Isn't that right, Iggy? You smarty pants. What do you think, buddy? Oh my gosh. Okay. So Nadine, whenever you're ready, I'm assuming you're typing. There we go. I have no specific question, maybe a general reading. Okay, sure. So let me just take a moment. Okie doke. Let's see what wants to come up. Fill these ones. Let's see. Put them all together. Okay. The fairies want to come out and play. All right, Nadine, let's see what comes up. Yo, that was quick. I love it when they come out fast. I'm like, good. Because sometimes I can be here for like a few minutes. Ooh, that flipped over. Yeah, absolutely, Alicia. So I'm just giving Nadine a reading because she gave a donation. So whenever you give a donation, essentially you just get a longer reading, but I will still take questions even after. No problem. So we got 3 cards that are going to come out. So give me 1 second, sometimes more. Depends what the cards want. And like I find the cards so helpful because they give me, it's almost like they're like a tool for me to tap into like that information that I can, even if I'm not giving readings, but it's like immediate. All right, interesting. So I feel like you got the problem and the solution here. So the first card that you got, Nadine, is the 2 of Michael, which is it will be better if you just make a decision over analyzing a problem. Find compromise. Okay, so oftentimes what this card means is essentially it's like it possibly could mean a few things. Like one of them is that you can't make up your mind about a situation. You're having internal conflict, or you could be actually having a conflict with someone outside, like a situation or some kind of situation. It could be either or. Doesn't really matter to me. You got to know what that is for yourself. Okay, so at the end of the day, this is essentially what the main issue has come up or wants to come to the surface. So everything happens for a reason. Okay, release regret and embrace the opportunities for happiness. Search for the silver lining. So the reason why you're having such a hard time making a decision or choosing or finding some sort of peace or resolution in the situation is because I think deep down you fear. Obviously it comes down to fear. It comes down to maybe what if I make the wrong decision? What if I turn the wrong way? What if I miss out on something? All of these things are essentially there, but the cards are essentially saying like, when, and again, it's going back to also the group reading that I gave, right? You cannot make a wrong decision as long as you're staying true to your integrity and your truth. That's a very important tip whenever you want to make a decision. But look for the silver lining. What are you learning behind this? And even if you did make the wrong decision, is it really the wrong decision? So whenever I look at a situation like this for myself, it's like if I accidentally make the wrong decision, which I don't believe in so much right or wrong, I learned so much from it. That's the silver lining behind it. It's like no matter what, for me, it's a win. Okay. That's a very abundant mindset as well. Very important, right? So you either learn or you move forward. Win-win for me. Because when you learn, you grow, and you grow fast, and you grow a lot. And it's important. We need that. We don't want to be stagnant. And if I move forward, great. That's awesome. I'm moving to the next thing, which means at some point I'm going to have to overcome something. So either way, it's just how it flows. So when you detach from the outcome and you just understand that no matter what you do, you're going to win, there's no way that you can F it up. It gives you that confidence to make that decision, and it makes it easier for you to move forward. Now, I do see an emotional attachment, possibly to someone. Again, it could also be a job or a situation. But a positive new emotional experience, fulfilled romantic relationship, deep and lasting spiritual insights. So I do feel like there's some kind of connection. Sorry, itchy nose. Here we go again. Those of you know who do these lives, I always get itchy noses whenever I do readings. So a positive new emotional experience. So no matter what, and I think maybe it's not sure about making this decision, but what they're saying is just make a decision, because once you make a decision, it will be a positive outcome. And I don't see you messing this up. The only way that you can mess it up is by not making a decision, if that makes any sense, because then you're stuck. You're just not going anywhere, and that doesn't help anybody. Now, the solution to this essentially is visualization, self-care, and follow your dreams. Okay? When you visualize, guys, this is essentially what it's saying here, Nadine, is use the power of manifestation, quantum leaping, visualization, vision boards. Focus on the things that you want. What are you trying to achieve? And this also requires a ton of surrender. So very important when we want to manifest, guys, is that yes, of course, we want these things, but when we release expectations, when we release attachments, they come to us much, much quicker. So they always fall. So Nadine, I don't know if you're into it or whatever, but essentially it's like I love using quantum leaping. So essentially pretending like I already have the thing that I want, because that creates an immediate sense of peace, and it allows me, and I've manifested this way before, and it takes away the distance, right? So I don't know how you can do it, but for instance, when I wanted to manifest my car, I would sit in my old car and visualize, the smell of the new car. I would visualize the color. I'd pretend to walk out of this car as if it was a beautiful car, even though it was a piece of junk. Like, I would do all these things in my mind. Nobody has to know about it. That would help me. And for me, that's the way I like to manifest. I have goals on my mirror, which, I look at. So I do little things every day to essentially allow me to focus on my dreams. I do meditation practices every day. So these are the things that amplify my focus towards where I want to go. So essentially, this is what is coming up. And that's why you've gotten beauty. That's why you've gotten self-care. So you're not taking care of that part of yourself. You need to start taking care of those parts of yourself if you want them to happen. So if you don't spend the time in the meditations, in the visualizations, in the affirmations, in the vision boards, whatever it is that your thing, you've got to figure out what that's for you. That is self-care. That is self-love. That is nurturing the parts of you that you want to manifest. Because if you don't do that, guess what? You're living in reality. And unless your reality is amazing, you're going to be suffering. Okay? And so then that amplifies that. So essentially, it's like follow your dreams, be brave, do what you want to. Just be brave enough to spend that time and that effort and that energy into that. And be bold enough to desire something. Don't be afraid of that. Some people are so scared of even dreaming of anything because they're mostly afraid of just the disappointment of not getting it. But for me personally, I'd rather try and fail than not having tried and then looking back and you're guaranteed failure for sure if you don't try. So that's how I live, and I always think of the best way to put things in perspective very quickly, especially if you want to make a decision or if you're having a hard time making a choice. Think of yourself already transitioned to the afterlife. You're 5 years down the track and you're looking back at your life. Did it really matter? Did that fear, did that worry, did that decision really matter? What did matter looking back? And that's how you know. So yes, it is making sense. I'm a bit of a pickle between making a decision and as well, since our last time on a live, I had been meditating, staying on social media and listening to your tracks. Oh, thank you. And I'm trying to lock into it, but I think it takes a lot of time and patience. Yes, well, it really, more than time and patience, it takes dedication. I think a lot of the times, like for me, this is my life. Like this is what I do all the time. I wake up, even before I get out of bed, I connect to a higher power. I meditate every single day. If I can't, I don't go more than a day, maximum 2, without meditating. I mean, I teach it now, so it's a bit harder not to. But like for me, it's essential. I constantly am learning. I'm constant, like, it's just who I am. It's just become part of who I am. And so it's kind of like, I always like to explain, it's kind of like brushing your teeth. It's like, you're going to do it. So yeah, it takes 5 or 10 minutes, but you're going to do it, because if you don't, your teeth rot. So for me, this is even more important than brushing my teeth. You know, it's like, if I don't do this, my life definitely has an effect, and that's the only thing I have. It's my life. It's my time. So, and another thing is that it's very hard is that we expect results immediately. When we do these practices and we're consistent, and see, I've been doing this for like 2 months and nothing's happened. I guarantee if you weren't doing it, your life would be a lot worse, but you have nothing to compare it to at that point. So sometimes it takes time to really acknowledge and see what has changed and how things have shifted. And sometimes the universe takes, like, you do the work inside and you're unwiring years and years and years and years and years of bad self-talk, all sorts of things. So it takes time as well. And that's the patience as well that comes up. So for me, the power is in the practice alone. Anything else is just a plus. The fact that I got up and meditated and did my affirmations and worked out, I won. I've achieved everything that I needed to achieve that day. So when you think of it that way, it makes it a lot easier. So it's something you need to do every day for it to really work, because it has only been weeks, so I'm not expecting a whole lot of change, but it feels better in some sort of way. Amazing, Nadine. So I always say, when you're going to start manifesting or creating something, make it practical and make it doable. So for me, it's like, what can I fit in my day, right? We don't want to do, because a lot of the time some people go so hardcore into it that they make it so unattainable that they're going to give up. They set themselves up for failure. But for me, I know meditation is an absolute plus. Like, it's a must. It's a non-negotiable in my life. Affirmations are the second thing for me, because if you guys know my history, I suffered from mental illness and mental depression and addiction. So if I don't maintain those two things, I fall back into negative thinking, and then my whole life just goes to shit. So it's a non-negotiable. But you can use those practices to focus on what you're trying to achieve. So if I want to manifest something very specific, I do affirmations specifically for what I want to achieve, and I do a meditation around that very thing as well. So I'm achieving two things at once. So my meditation practice just has to be adapted. So let's just say I want to manifest an acting job. You know, I usually will meditate around being on set. I will do all that sort of stuff. I will call for it. And then I will do affirmations around achieving, because either way, it's a win-win for me. It makes me feel good. And I'll throw in maybe some affirmations in there that are just like self-empowering or feeling good or whatever. But that's what I do. So whatever my practices are focused around the thing that I'm trying to achieve. If that day I'm feeling really bad and I just need to feel better, then I would just put that in the back burner, and that becomes priority. So it very much depends, but that's essentially how I do it. And then, of course, taking action. You know, we do live in a physical world. So other things that I will notice is, like, if I catch myself being negative, or if I catch myself slipping back in some ways, you know, I will rewire my brain. When you were beginning, what did you do daily to get to where you are now? Meditation and affirmations. Literally. And to this day, I still do the same thing. It has not changed. Why? Because it works for me. But did I see the benefits immediately? No. But I when I decided to do meditate, I mean, I always kind of meditated, but when I decided to do the affirmations, I told myself that I was going to give it a 1 year. I dedicate 1 year to doing affirmations. And my goal was, if my life changes in 1 year, if I see any benefits or whatever, I'll continue to do this. If I don't, I'm going to let it go. But I had to give it a realistic time frame in order to really truly see how much of an impact it really had. That was 15 years ago. So just to give you an idea. And I also manifested through affirmations. One of the things that I manifested, for instance, was my green card. That was one of my affirmations before I moved to the US, and then I won the green card. So what are the best types of meditations to do? Obviously mine. Listen, it depends on what you're trying to achieve, and it depends on what you like. So for me, for instance, So for instance, it depends again. So if you're trying to quieten your mind and you really just want to find stillness and listen to yourself, I would recommend the simplest meditation ever, which is just focusing on your breath. So you just sit in stillness and you just follow your breathing, and what your mind is going to do is going to wander. Okay, it's going to start going off, thinking about the shopping, thinking about your problems, daydreaming about unicorns on Pluto, whatever. So the idea of this meditation essentially is that you're catching the moment that your brain is off, and then you got to bring it back just to your breath. And it's a very powerful, very simple, but incredibly powerful meditation, because essentially you're training yourself to become self-aware, and you're training yourself to be present, and you're training yourself to be okay with nothing, just being in stillness. If you can be okay with nothing, anything from there is just a massive plus. Option 2, again, is visualizations and my meditations. Not to brag, but that's what changed my life. I was doing a lot of different types of meditations, and that's why I created what I do now, and that's why I teach what I teach. For me, when I do a meditation, one of my meditations, I love it. But sometimes I don't feel like doing my meditation. I'll just go on YouTube and just search somebody else's meditation, So it really depends again, But mine are very specific around energies. And of course, because I'm creating, I'm connected to something. So that's why for me it works. But if it doesn't work for you, I would just suggest go on YouTube, see if somebody resonates with you, see if their work, but the point is, you got to be on that journey to search. And I didn't find it immediately. I did transcendental meditation. I did the breathing one for a long time, the stillness one. I did so many different types of meditation before I found and created my technique that works for me and obviously other people. But again, that might not work for everybody. So that's okay, but you got to be committed to the practice. And however that practice shows up, some days you're not going to do the best meditation. Some days you're not going to feel it. Some days you're not going to want to do it. Those are the days you still got to do and show up regardless of the outcome. That's the point. So shameless plug. But it's also true, Chris, because I did create them. And there's nothing wrong with that, not to say that somebody else out there doesn't have something better than me, but I love my stuff, and that's why I make them. But again, like I said, it may not resonate with somebody, and that's okay, When did you start to feel like you could really feel it working? For me, it's when my life started to change, but it took a while to notice it started to change. So one of the things that I noticed is, and it took a few years, it's like I noticed it more when I wasn't meditating. I noticed myself slipping back into old habits. I noticed myself getting very negative again. I noticed myself thinking, like, it just, my whole mindset completely shifted. And then when I would go back to my practice, I noticed myself being more positive, more focused, more driven, and more connected. So that just made sense to me. I was like, obviously this is just a no-brainer. And then, like I said, I do manifest things. I've seen miracles in my life. I've seen magic. I've seen crazy things happen in my life because of my meditations or any other meditation, essentially the practices. Like I said, I would do affirmations around wanting to win the green card lottery, because when I moved to the US, I was on a alien visa. And literally after just about when my visa was about to expire, I won the green card lottery, which I applied for 3 years prior, by the way. So you can understand the timing there, how crazy that was. And my roommate also won it. So we both won it at the same time. That's an odd, the odds there are very, very, very weird. So, I wanted a tripod. I found one on the street. Weird shit like that always happens to me. But it's again, because I want it. I believe I can find it. I believe I can manifest it. And this is when I had no money. So now I'm just live in practice. I just trust, and I'm always also exploring as well. I'm okay with trying new things, and I'm okay with being open. And of course, I don't have all the answers, but I know what I do works for me. So Nadine, the point that I'm trying to say here is that you got to go on the journey to self-discovery here. That's amazing. What the hell? It's just you hear people like you speak and you never think you could have that much self-power, but you give me hope. Aw. It's just, I think, Nadine, I give you hope because I think I'm just one of those stories that like I shouldn't, my life should have gone, essentially, considering how bad it was, it should have been a very different story. And because I made the decision to, essentially, I always love to tell this story. Like I didn't want to be here. Okay. I just did not want to be here. I was in so much pain and so much suffering. I just was like, at that point, I was like, look, I'm either going to check out, because this is not working for me, man. This planet sucks. Okay. And so, but then I kept seeing people who telling stories that they did figure it out and that good things can happen. And I was like, well, I must be doing something wrong here. I stopped blaming everybody else and the world, and I started looking at myself, and I was like, what is it that I'm not doing here? And I realized the number one thing was my mind. The way I was thinking, the way I was processing, even just being in silence. If you go in silence, and I try to go a day without complaining. And I heard somebody say that. And so I tried to go a day without complaining, and I realized how much I complained. Like, I did not shut up. Everything was a problem. Them and the air and the temperature and my freaking clothes and my mom and my dad and my cousin and my whatever. Everything was a problem. In the morning, the conversations that I was having with myself. You're a loser. You're a piece of shit. Nobody loves you. Nobody cares about you. Okay. So the world is going to be the world. And this goes back again to my group reading at the beginning of this, guys. You can't change others. You can change yourself. My favorite thing that Dr. Joe Dispenza says, your personality creates your personal reality. And your personality is made up of the way you think, which affects the way you feel, which therefore creates your actions. If you change your personality, essentially what you need to do is you need to change the way you think, which will change the way you feel, which will change your actions. And so I just decided to dedicate my life, because it was either going to be life or death for me. There was no other option. Okay. But there was power. There was so much power in that realization where I didn't want to be here anymore. Because what I realized is like, I want to die. Like, I genuinely want to die. I used to fantasize about my death. I was like, this sounds like the best thing ever. Now I'm like, no, I'm good, man. Give me a few years. But what I realized, it was like, if I am willing to go, why do I care so much? If, I was looking back and I was like, why do I care so much? What is it that I care about? And that gave me so much power, because suddenly I was like, I can do whatever I want now, because if I'm willing to go, then I set myself free in this realm. And I was like, I'm going to just do what I want. I don't know how, I'm going to figure it out. So I stopped caring so much about what other people thought. I had to. I started just like trying different things. And I was like, for me, even doing affirmations made me want to throw up. I'm one of those people, I hear people all the time, it's like, it's just so fluffy, it's just so, I'm like, dude, I get it. I understand. But that tells me that you have a very negative mindset if that's how you feel about it. I was like, I'm going to do everything that is uncomfortable to me, because clearly what I'm doing where I'm comfortable is effed up. And so that's essentially how I was looking at things. Sorry, sounds like I used to do the victimhood mindset, and I am so glad you broke out of that shit. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. By the way, I'm from Australia. That was supposed to say that sounds like what I used to do. Oh, Carolyn, I know, right? So what does it take, guys? The reality of the matter, it takes work. It takes the practice. So again, I realized my mind was messed up, so I started meditating. I was like, what tool is the most powerful tool to access your mind and reprogram your mind? Meditation. You close your eyes, you're just with the computer. Next thing I realized was my thoughts. You're a piece of shit, nobody loves you, you're a loser. I mean, where are you going to go with that? So I started doing affirmations, and I would listen to them like all the time, whether I was doing them. So I have about 6 books, guys. I'm not even joking, of just every morning I write affirmations, an A4 page. That practice is kept with me. If I catch myself saying something negative, clear, cancel, delete, I say 3 positive things after that. I did affirmations in the mirror. Like I didn't want to be here. So it's like, I'm going to dedicate myself to see if I can heal. And if I don't, then I can say I really tried everything. But it worked. And it wasn't like, oh, I woke up one morning, it's like, everything is great, No, it was a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, a lot of trial and error, a lot of mistakes. Hey, Hannah, good to see you. But the point is, I love my life now. And it was fucking worth it. It was worth all of it. And is my life perfect? Yeah. No. Close. It's perfect in the sense of I've created a bond and a relationship that honestly, it is truly magical. I never thought I could have healthy relationships. I have a family now that is healthy. Nobody's truly healthy as far as humans. I have so much more to go, but these are the things that back then I couldn't even get close to dreaming about. Yeah, I've been getting away from a long abusive narcissistic husband. I've been about 4 weeks without him. Text me something that stops me in my tracks. Yeah, well, they're good at that. Gracias. I can't read Spanish, but I hear you, girl. I love that for you, honestly. Thank you. Clear, cancel, delete. Mental note token. Oh, amazing, Chris. Yes, clear, cancel, delete. So the old thoughts are going to creep up, guys. You got to think of the computer, your mind as a computer. It's designed to keep you functioning in chaos and disaster, okay? So you're running on a subconscious program all the time. And that's the other thing. Educate yourself on the mind. Educate yourself how the mind works. So once I understood that, I was like, oh, okay, so that's why the meditation again. Every morning I wake up, I am programming my brain to be a certain way, how I want it to see life, how I want it to be. And that's, again, it's why it's important, because if you don't do that, well, my brain was really messed up. Again, I was depressed. I had addiction problems. I could not create relationships. Like, it was in full-on protection mode, trying to keep everything and everyone away from me. Got you. I am on my way to my perfect life. Amazing. Switch words. I used to have a book on them, but lent it to someone. Do you know of any books that you read? Power of Now is great. I read a lot of books. Deepak Chopra had one. Man, again, guys, names. You get me on the names. There's a lot. Let me see if I can think of a few, because there was one that was Deepak Chopra. Man, it wasn't the 7 Laws of Success. Louise Hay, yes. Louise Hay, I really loved listening to the audiobook because I loved her voice. She has a very motherly, nurturing soul energy, which I really needed at the time. So I would play her affirmations in the morning as I was making breakfast. You Can Heal Your Life. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm sure I have them somewhere. There's one of Deepak Chopra that I remember really had a big impact on me. I don't think it was Untethered Soul. Man, I'm sorry, guys. I'm really bad with remembering. It's going to happen after I finish the live. I'm going to be like, oh, yeah, of course it's that one. I'll think of a few, but definitely, Wayne Dyer, love his work as well. I mean, honestly, any of their stuff is going to be good. The good old school teachers, right? I mean, at that point, I was just on a hunt for anything that would feed my mind in a positive mindset. I love The Law of Attraction as well, by Rhonda Byrne. I'm currently have the other one, the second book that she has near my bedside. So one of the things I do in the morning is sometimes I just open up a page and just read a page, just a random page. It's a great way to start the morning. The Body Keeps Score. No, not that one. It was something about the secrets of something. I have the audiobook of You Can Heal Your Life. I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, it's a great one, Hannah. Honestly, you really, really need to listen to that. Oh, another one I really like, by the way, is David Goggins. Can't Hurt Me. Now, he has no spiritual abilities whatsoever. He's ex-Navy SEAL, hardcore. But there's a lot of wisdom in that book. Oh, you're welcome, Nadine. Have a good night. So yeah, guys, so definitely spiritual solutions. Maybe Gabby, that sounds a little bit more. I mean, he has so many books. I'm so sorry, I can't, because I read it so long ago, but I remember that book having an impact on me. Alan Watts, yes, love Alan Watts. I listen to him all the time on YouTube as well. Neville Goddard, as well as another one that I've been listening to lately. Love these 13 weeks mindfulness journal on Amazon called the Vibe Journal, that it has appendix of affirmations in the back of it. That's a good one. Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle. Yeah, love that one, if I remember. Also, A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle is really good. Was a blue book, especially Switch Words. Was not Louise Hay. God, my brain. Don't worry about it. We're all there. Eckhart Tolle, yes, love. Energy Codes. Ooh, Energy Codes. I've heard of that one. I haven't read it. Yeah, guys, and thank you, Hannah. Honestly, it's just start looking. Just start looking. Go out there and start reading. I mean, where are you putting your attention and time? I have my moments where I'm a lot on social media, but the more times I grow is when I really, like, instead of being on social media, I'm reading or I'm learning, or I try to listen to podcasts all the time. I'm always listening to like some kind of inspirational thing where I can learn. I find those to be the most powerful things. Feed your brain the things that you want to, not the things that you're just being thrown at you. All right, Hannah, since I got your donation, you want a reading, girl? What's up? And then I'll take other readings. Sorry, guys, we got distracted because we started talking about everything. All the things. Thanks, Cheryl. Well, what's your question, girl? You have a question, or just open to whatever? I'm just going to close the energies with Nadine. Journey of the Soul was super interesting. I've heard of that one too. I haven't read that one. Swear to God, there's a book in the back of my head. It's going to come to me hopefully by the time of this live, I hope, because there's just so many good ones. But again, also when you know, I love the saying, it's like when the student is ready, the teacher will find you. And the teacher is not always a person. The teacher sometimes is a book, it's a podcast, it's a message, it's so many things. So I'm in a bit of a transition, just wondering how to prepare for what comes next. Okay. Hey, don't eat that. Sorry guys, 1 second. That is not food. You can't leave anything on the floor with these guinea pigs. Pop, come here. Do you want to come and say hi? Hi, piggy. Hi, sweetie. I know, I'm sorry. You can't eat the cardboard. I know. Okay, sorry, Anna. Ooh, that one went hot. And that one went hot. Okay. Let's see what comes up. I'm going to sing for you guys. You're welcome. Everybody leaves. All right, let's see. Ooh. Okay, so that's true, Chris. Good point. Fair enough. You know, you always hope that they're going to behave and not follow through, but you got a point there. You leave cardboard box on the floor, they will eat it. Okay, so oh yeah, that's it. I haven't read that one either, love, but it sounds good. So Hannah. Oh, okay, more particularly in a romantic life. Ew. So interesting enough, you got the dragon here. So don't give up. Protect that which you've created. Have courage and believe in yourself. Enjoy life's... Here we go. I was trying to get the third one. Sixth one, actually, if I do the math correctly. Enjoy life, little luxury. Spending quiet time alone. Successful self-employment. And then contentment, peace, and abundance. A happy home life. The successful completion of a project. So I don't know why this is coming up, but Hannah, essentially it's like there is, I don't know what the transition is, in the sense of whether you're transitioning to a new relationship, there's a new relationship but it's changing, or I don't know. Maybe you're transitioning out of a relationship, but there's something about protecting something here, honoring and cherishing something. And this can be positive and negative in the sense of like you could be moving into a beautiful relationship and meeting somebody new, but you still need to hold true to something here. And I don't know what that is, obviously, but it's saying here there is something that just do not lose it when you get involved, or whether you move away from somebody. Do not lose this thing that you have that means so much to you for somebody else. And again, sometimes we can get into a relationship. You know how people say, oh, I lost myself in the relationship and I forgot who I was because I'm just getting so involved. I don't know what that is. Or you break up and that becomes the focus of your life and you forget to like focus on yourself and your life. I can't decide what to do with my head today. Sorry, guys. So they want you not to give that up, whatever that is. I have worked hard to protect my children and I from my abusive acts. Yes. So I don't know what it means. I think are you talking about like leaving this relationship? Is that what you mean, or are you wanting a new relationship? Because I'm not quite sure here. But it's saying here, like, you know, spending quiet time alone. Okay, so I don't know whether it is like you wanting a new relationship, because this old relationship has ended, right? I'm pretty sure you were the one who went through the whole court case, right? And you had that whole thing happen. So all I'm hearing is if you are through a transition phase, it's time for you just to sit with yourself for a minute. There is a relationship coming either way, but I think this is I have met someone new, but it's not a serious relationship yet. Okay, so that's okay. So, because what I'm hearing here is because it's been such an extreme situation, right? Sometimes when we find something new, again, and this is what I'm thinking and what it's trying to say, it's like, just remember the things that you value, what you fought for, the things that you have worked so hard to achieve, okay? So it's very important that when you come into a new relationship that person understands that. It's not something you got to shove down their throat or make it a point or whatever, but it's like, this is a non-negotiable, okay? I will never, ever, ever compromise these things for anybody else ever again. And especially if you've been in an abusive relationship, that should have taught you a lot about the things that you did give up in order to try and make the relationship work, right? So very important that if you want to create a healthy relationship, you cannot give those up ever again. Because that is also a self-respect frequency. And what ends up happening with that kind of frequency, and you'll know if this relationship is right or not because of that. Because when you hold those beliefs, the people who do not align with it will reveal themselves very fucking quickly. And then you will know very quickly whether this is something you should pursue or not. And it's always a blessing, okay? Because you don't want to be with somebody who doesn't respect that, and you don't want to change yourself to be with somebody. It just doesn't make any sense. So this is the time to really think about what those are. Look back in the old relationship, understand what are the things that I gave up, that I compromised on, that really got me in that situation. And obviously, of course, I'm not saying it's your fault, but it's a build-up, right, over time before you know what you're there, because all you're trying to do is love someone and prove to them how much you love them. And of course, they treat you like trash, and then it just gets worse, and they keep testing you until they try to break you. Trust me, I know that one. So whatever you're doing from now on, use what happened in the past as a lesson. and hold your ground on that, because when you will attract somebody who will respect that, who will value that. And that's, I think, deep down, obviously, what you want, right? So I do, by the way, I do see restorative balance. Okay, so you got the 4 here, and it's saying here, contentment, peace, and abundance, a happy home life, the successful completion of a project. So the project is, you know, whatever this was, this situation, this life lesson that you had to go through, the completion of it. You're at the end of it, but it doesn't mean you still won't be tested. So that's what is just coming up. It's just a reminder. That's the lesson behind it. Now that you've gone through all of that crap, a couple of things that are coming up is the cosmic witches, the wizards, and the water witches, which is really, really cool. The cosmic witches are all about thinking big, dreaming big. And then the wizards are all about stepping back and having a bird's eye view of the situation. And then the water witches are all about, I'm going to read that one because it's going to be very relevant. But essentially it's like, now that you've freed yourself from this, and by holding those pillars, those beliefs, those that foundation that you had to fight for and discover what it was, you can be now free to build, to create something new, to manifest something powerful, whether it's with this relationship or something else. So don't be afraid to give yourself the thing that you deep down know that you are worthy of. So when you come from an abusive relationship, your expectations of love are very low because you've been treated like trash this entire time. Just somebody being nice to you is like, oh my God, I've had an amazing day. Somebody saying a nice word to you, it's like, oh my God, they're incredible. No, that's just fucking common, basic human behavior. But when you've been in an abusive relationship, again, your standards are so low that you don't know what a healthy, loving relationship even looks or feels like. So this is what I'm hearing here essentially for you, Hannah, is like, this is why you need that foundation, because now you can start, like, as long as your foundation is strong, you can begin to expand a little bit and start expecting and looking for things that are more in alignment with your desires. You know, I only know for myself, when I manifested my husband, there were very few things that I needed from a partner, which was the number one thing that I realized that I never got from anybody else, was that nobody ever prioritized me, ever. It was all about them and their needs, and my needs weren't even in the freaking picture. And for the first time, when I had somebody actually genuinely caring about my well-being, about my mental state, about my life, about how I was living, about what was going on with me, you know, that made it everything that I ever needed at the end of the day, because that's what I was seeking, I think, in the end. So looking at that for yourself and being okay to admit that to yourself, because again, when you recover from something like that, your expectations are really low because again, you've been through years and years and years of being treated like shit. So it's time for you to start discovering what real love is. It's time for you to discover, and maybe through a relationship, maybe through also, I feel like it's a bit of both. I feel like you need to start doing your own research, because I did get something about quiet time with yourself, and I think that's the time. It's like, what is love? What is it that I need? What does it mean? And then having this relationship that it's obviously, I'm hoping it's better than the last one. I hope so. But is it still enough? You know what I mean? It's like, okay, he's nice, but like, is it what I really want? You know, so being okay with having a little bit of a higher standard and not comparing it to the shit that you've been through, because that is not even, like, that's just trash. Don't even use it. That's just learning curve. So the important thing here at the end of the day, Hannah, is the final message is the water witches are here to remind you of the power of water. You are made of water. You need to be more aware of how you speak to yourself. And as the words you cast are essentially spells on the waters in your body. Take your power back and speak words that are healing, empowering, and full of abundance. This card also symbolizes memories coming to the surface, and it's time to acknowledge them and release the old emotional patterns. I've been on a deep spiritual journey since leaving my ex-husband. I really value the experience of meditation, channeling, and everything that comes with it. I lost all that I lost all that in the past. Oh, I see what you mean. So that could also be part of your foundation, right? I'll give you guys an example. I was dating someone at one point, and I was doing transcendental meditation at the time. And this was a big red flag that this was a toxic relationship. This is before I met my husband and all this sort of stuff, obviously. Huge red flag is that I wanted time to meditate, and this person would not let me. They wanted my attention all the time, and they would not even let me meditate for 20 minutes a day. They were not comfortable with me having my own practice. And that to me was the biggest red flag, because I'm like, if you really love someone, you can give them that 20 minutes for themselves to do the practices that are necessary for their well-being. So little things like that, okay? But essentially what this card is saying, Hannah, is that now that you've healed, what ends up happening a lot of time is that your body starts feeling a little bit safer. And sometimes your subconscious mind is going to release some of the trauma that's suppressed, because you're in a better mind state. And so what's been really dug underneath sometimes needs to come to the surface because it needs to be released or healed. Okay, so this is one thing that came up. The second thing is, again, be very aware of the way that you speak to yourself. Like, I find a lot of people who are single, who don't have relationships, there's usually a dialogue that they tell themselves, which is whether there's no good men out there, or women, or all women are like gold diggers, whatever the story, right? Or it's like, I'm too old, too fat, too ugly, I'm too this, I'm too that. If you ask anybody, if you ask my mother or my father, they'll tell you that I'm like the most difficult person apparently on the planet. Yet I have the healthiest relationship I've ever seen anybody have. So either, according to them, it's impossible for me to meet somebody because I'm so difficult, but yet I have an incredible person who clearly loves me, and I have a healthy relationship. So, but I don't sit there and tell myself that I'm difficult. I'm okay with having high standards. I'm okay with being like, okay, she's like, yeah, same, man. But it's like, so I'm very aware. I always told myself, I was like, look, I'm always willing to get better. I'm always willing to heal. I can be a bit of a pain in the ass. I know I'm an angry person, but that doesn't make me a bad person. So I'm very careful essentially about the way I speak to myself, because I understand that if I tell myself, oh, nobody's ever going to love me, guess what? No one's ever going to love me. I was thinking negative thoughts yesterday, but I managed to get myself... Amazing. So, Hannah, this is exactly the stuff that we're talking about, and this is all you have to do. So the reason why this came up, and I think this is a synchronicity right here, exactly. It's like this is coming up because they just want you to just rewire that. So the number one way, guys, to manifest love is to love yourself. Which means the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the great. So when I started loving myself, when I started accepting myself, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and these things that my parents would tell me that I'm so awful, I'm like, I don't care. I like me. I think I'm all right. I think I did pretty well. Sure, I'm a shit sometimes. I'm human. I'm not perfect, but I see it. I'm not lying to myself. I accept it. I'm not in denial. So, and I'm willing to get better. So that's self-love, because I'm not rejecting anything about myself. And also having the time to speak kindly to myself and to love myself and say, hey, girl, you're doing great and I love you. And I think, you know what? You're not perfect, but you're figuring it out and you work hard, whatever it is. Okay, so the point is the way you speak to yourself, guys, very important. So sorry, I saw somebody, Chris, I just gonna go through your message because it's a bit a longer one. This is for me, years after spouse death. I've finally told myself that I need to admit a new future is possible. Transition time for me, getting back to the projects I love but dropped when he got sick. Oh, I'm sorry. Since then, it's like I forgot who I was, and I am around gossips at work. Oh yeah. And people who don't get me and who'd never understand the projects I love and put on hold due to the grief. I have a feeling I can restore myself and my projects. Absolutely you can. Use the pain as fuel. I took 4 years off to figure out how to love myself and working on it. Just met someone on a blind date and enjoying this. Oh, I love that for you, Melissa. Yes. So that's what I'm hearing here, Hannah. Essentially, you're on this transition. You're on this like, it's a process. Yeah, you're going through the process, through the healing. You've just come out of something really epic. You've just come out of something that's been such a life-defining moment. Which of course, when you're going to look back from 10 years from now, you're going to understand a lot more, because right now you're still coming out of the cloud of it. But again, just remind yourself that because of what you've experienced, your expectations are very low. And it's not because maybe you do feel like you're worthy or whatever, but like, you don't know what you don't know, because you haven't really, unfortunately, experienced it yet. Because of this, you wouldn't have manifested unless there was something that needed to come to the surface. But follow your intuition. You don't have to convince yourself it's good. Listen to your body, and you don't have to settle. 100% too. Yeah, of course. So it's a journey, and you're on this process of a new self-discovery, Hannah. You're discovering these new things about you. You freed yourself from the past, okay? So, but understand that, again, when we heal, once our body feels a little bit safer, what happens a lot of the time is sometimes old things can resurface, because it's like the layers of the onion, right? Your body, your subconscious mind is not going to release deep stuff until it's ready, or until essentially it feels a little bit safer to do that. So, hey, Evie, good to see you. So understand that might come up, which is why also these positive and loving practices are very important for you right now. One teacher on Inside Timer told me that I might be the problem in a relationship based on that I am on my second relationship that needs work. Just found that comment hurtful. What do you think? I mean, they might have not. I don't know. I don't know you enough. I haven't done a reading on you, Alicia. Sometimes we can be the problem. But I think in relationships, it's always a two-way street. I think the teacher maybe didn't express it the right way. I don't know. I don't know what your situation is, Alicia, so I can't go based on your question. But sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's 50-50. Sometimes it's 40-60. Sometimes it's 100% somebody else. But I think whatever that teacher told you brought something up. And so I wouldn't take it to heart. I would just look into why did that affect me so much? Because sometimes things come up the worst way, but they can reveal certain things that we need to maybe heal or realize that we're afraid of. Sometimes we manifest the most fearful or hurtful thing that people will say, because that is the most fearful, hurtful thing that we don't want to be told. And so it's essentially maybe there to help you build a shield around not allowing somebody else to affect you that much and hurt you by saying such words. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and again, Alicia, I don't know. I'd have to be there to be able to tell. And like, if you want a reading, you can ask me a question once I finish with Hannah, so we can look into it. But there's a way and way to say things. Sometimes people need to hear things, but there's a way and way to say things. My best past relationship was still not great, so I am trying to set out. Yes, you see, this is what I mean. I have had a lot of shadow aspects come up lately, and that's the stuff that I'm talking about, Hannah. That's the stuff that I'm talking, because now you've healed that big trauma, so now your system feels a little bit safer, so it's bringing up some more stuff that needs healing. So I would just say, honestly, it's gonna work out. By the way, it looks good, but begin to teach yourself about what love is. And guys, what is love? If I ask this question, a lot of people don't even know how to answer it, or they're like, oh, love is like, I don't know what some of you would say. But I love Teal Swan's term of love, which makes the most amount of sense to me, which is love is taking in something or someone as a part of yourself. So you cannot harm them without harming yourself. But the truth of the matter is that humans are really bad at loving. We don't know how to do that very well. So, but yeah, that's the idea, and that's my favorite term of it. Whenever my feelings are hurt, it's... Can you guys hear the guinea pigs? What do you whip about? Hi. Hi, piggy. Whip, whip. Are you hungry? Whip, whip. Whenever my feelings are hurt, it's because it brings up something I don't feel good or validation, a negative feeling about myself. The ultimate isn't true, just my own insecurity. Yeah, that's true, Gabby, for sure. Attachment has been a big part of my previous relationship. Yeah, so attachment essentially, when people have codependent relationships, is because ultimately it's a real fear reaction, which means fear of abandonment, fear. I feel like it really comes down to fear of abandonment. So it's like not trusting enough, like with my husband, there's of course always a fear that, deep down he could leave or whatever. But this is why when you really love yourself, at the end, it doesn't really matter. It's going to hurt. It's going to suck. But I'm going to be okay without him. I don't depend on him for feeling whole and complete. He's just this amazing addition to everything that I already have. And of course, he makes my life incredibly better and more fun and everything. But if I went back to being by myself, I'm going to be okay. And that's, I think, how you know you're in the right place to find love, because you don't depend on somebody else for anything. I mean, again, material things and all that sort of, it's great, it's nice, but at the end of the day, I'm going to be okay without him. And I hope he feels the same as well, which I know he would. So it sucks, but I feel like that's how you know you're in a good place, I think, personally. Again, I'm not an expert on this, but to me, it makes sense. I'm an expert in being desperate. I used to be. So Hannah, does that make sense? Iggy, what are you guys doing? Whip, whip. Whoop, whoop. I feel like that is where I am now. I don't need a relationship, but it would be nice to experience a healthy one. So just keep focusing on self-love and self-healing, my love. That's the best way to do it, honestly. That's all you can do, and it should be, of course. Yeah, like the more you practice self-love, the more you practice the healing, everything else is just an after effect, and again, if somebody's not in alignment, you will know very quickly. And having relationships, of course, we all love having a relationship, but like, we got to learn to be okay with being with ourselves first, because like I said, everything apart from that is just an addition. Like, I love time alone. I love my own time. I could just go years without seeing people, honestly. But we are creatures we're pack animals, so it's not healthy for us to do that. But you got this, Hannah. Just keep doing the self-loving practices, okay? And just keep expanding and your understanding and knowledge and exploration of what love is, because that's really going to help you in this situation. And it's also going to help you heal your past, but it's also going to bring up stuff, of course, because it comes hand in hand. Okay, so yeah, and that's great, That's awesome, the fact that you love alone time. That's important. Some people don't know how to be alone. I never used to know how to be alone. I didn't know how. I couldn't stand my own company. Oh, that's nice, love. I love that. Okay, so Alicia, do you have a question? Did you want to have a question, or does anybody else have a questions before? How long have we been going? Oh, it's only been an hour. I do have to pack, though, and get stuff moving. Okay, so what would you like to know, Alicia? Do you have a question, anything specific? Of course, Jessica. Yeah, I'm just going to give Alicia, and then Jessica, you're more than welcome to ask a question as well. Of course, Carla. Hey, girl. How you doing? So I'm just going to wait Alicia to ask a question, then Jessica, and then Carla, if you guys have any questions. I'm doing good, man. I'm so good. I just finished my book, by the way, which of course I finished it on the eclipse. So I got a sample today. It still needs some adjustment. The book is enormous. I didn't realize how big it would be. So I'm just fixing that, but it's exciting. So yeah, just working, she's working, she's doing her thing. So the book is, I can't advertise too much here, but the book is a continuation of my Oracle deck. So it's really going to go into depth. Eventually, I think I'm going to do some lives on this, but it's all about realms. So each realm that I wrote about in the Oracle deck, you can eventually read the book and figure out what realm you're from, and you can also give other people, you can figure out where other people's realms are from. So think of it kind of like a star signs, archetypes, that kind of thing. But are you an alien? Are you an angel? Are you a mermaid? Are you a galactic warrior? That's the kind of thing. So that's where it comes from. Can I have a reading into my relationship? Been having problems for a while, but last week I almost left him. I was beyond myself. I had enough, but now he's saying he will change, and I see some hope, but is that going to happen? Okay. Oh, you're an amazing artist. It could be a saucy fiction. It is facts. It's all about facts, guys, depending on how you see it. Yes, these are my books back there. I have another one which I didn't put up, but yeah, I have 3 books currently, and then the Oracle deck, and I've got a 4th book coming out. And I still can't spell. FYI. Doesn't stop me though. I'm getting much better at spelling now that I've been writing so much, but yeah. All right, Alicia, let's look into it. So I'm just going to connect to your energy. So one thing I will tell you, Alicia, this is how you know if you should stay in a relationship or not. I always find that, unfortunately, when of course we have expectations in relationships of ourselves, of our partners, and of course sometimes there are things that do need to change. But the problem with that is that unless somebody wants to change themselves, we cannot force them to change, and it's a hard one. So could you stay with this person knowing that they will never change? That's something that should tell you. Hey, Silverback, we got the Irish man is in the house. Ireland is here. That's my Irish accent. Terrible Irish accent. Yeah, I do like the background too. I feel like the walls should be darker though for some reason. I don't know why. It was white, and now I feel like I should have gone with my intuition, which was going to be like a dark teal. I don't know. We'll figure it out. So they should give me a second because the cards have to fall out. Okay, here's one. Okay, interesting. You got the shapeshifter. The shapeshitter. Those of you who know the shapeshitter story, then you're OGs. When I first made these cards, these are the samples, okay? And I made a spelling mistake. For those of you who are new, this is a funny story. I don't know if you can read this, but it says shapeshitters, not shapeshifters. Yeah. Luckily, this was a sample, so if you buy the actual Oracle deck, it doesn't have that. But that was a spelling mistake for you guys. Yes, I thought it was the funniest thing I've ever seen, because I was like, out of all of the spelling mistakes, shapeshitter. It's hilarious. Yeah, doesn't it, Hannah? No. It's epic. It's amazing. I feel like I almost kept it in there because I thought, wouldn't that be hilarious? Okay, I know, right? Isn't it funny? It just, the chances of me doing that. Plus, it's my own realm. This is my realm. This is the realm that I belong to. Anyway, so Alicia, let's get into it. Okay, so a couple of things came up here. So one of them is the shapeshifters, the shapeshifters. The shapeshifters are here asking you to embrace your adaptability. This situation requires you to be more flexible, open-minded, and willing to shift your perspective. There may be a need for compromise, finding a balance where all involved can benefit. By following with the changes instead of resisting them, you can discover new opportunities and solutions that create a win-win outcome. Trust in your ability to adjust and transform as needed. So I think this is making sense now why this person said that it was you. It's not you, okay? Sometimes we have certain expectations. Sometimes we're very attached to certain ideas or certain ways of being or certain ways of thinking. And I think this is what might have come up with the old reader that I'm seeing here with you. That you're very attached to a way of this relationship being. And what I'm hearing here is that your attachment essentially is creating that distance, that division, that struggle in the relationship. This is not your fault. It's just natural to have an expectation. It's natural to want things to be a certain way. But when this card comes up, essentially it's saying that it's needed for you to look outside of the box and to find a way to have a win-win outcome in this relationship. So if this person is willing to put the work in, your partner, amazing. Because a lot of the times people are not willing to do that. So what I'm hearing here essentially is like, how can you look at the win-win? Now, the win-win is, I don't have to be right. Do I want to be right or do I want to be happy? Now, in order to be happy, sometimes you got to also allow things not to be perfect, not to go the way that you want them to go. And it sucks. Because of course, my way is the right way. Because that's how I feel sometimes with my husband. My husband gets really mad at me, for instance, when I tell him how to do the dishes or how to do something. Because the way he does it, I just think it's like the most special way I've ever seen. And he's like, listen, there are a million ways to do the dishes. Let me do them the way I want to do them. Okay. And I'm like, all right, I want to be happy and I just want the dishes made, but if I wanted to be right, I would have forced him to do the dishes the way I want them to do it. And then we would end up having an argument, right? So sometimes being happy is more important than being right. Because do I want the dishes or do I want to argue? Okay. So I think this is what's coming up, my love, is essentially there's I think you have certain attachments or certain expectations, and this might not even be yours. This is things maybe from your family, from society, and you might even have fair expectations, okay? It doesn't mean that they're even unrealistic expectations. They might be reasonable. But what I'm getting here, unfortunately, is that your partner's a little bit odd. They don't think the way that most people think. They kind of live in a little bit of a different, because you got the cosmic angels, and the cosmic angels are often odd. They don't conform to the norm. They don't think the way that most people think. They do things a little bit offbeat. And when I get that card, if you're the type of person who is A-type and you're with an off-B type, it's okay. And listen, my husband and I are total opposites, okay? I'm A-type, he is Z-type, if there is one. Chill, relax, nothing phases him. I'm get up at 7 a.m., go for a 2-hour workout, have my schedule out. And he's I'm going to just, whatever, whenever. And I'm but it balances out perfectly. He needs my structure because I motivate him. And yes, 100% silverback. And I need his peace because if I don't have that in my life, I'm crazy. Okay? I'm too hard on myself. So I need that stability, that chillness to balance things out. But I also had to accept that. And it wasn't easy for me at the beginning because at the beginning I was you're just lazy. You don't want to work. You don't care. You're not And I could be right on some level, right? But at the end of the day, do I want to be happy or do I want to be right? And you can be both, okay? So I'm just reading a little bit here. The answers you seek isn't obvious. It requires introspection and willingness to see beyond the illusion. Trust your inner knowing, for the revelation may surprise you, leading you to a deeper understanding and the answers you seek. So I feel we are very similar, but it doesn't work always. I am more a listener and he goes on too much and it annoys me, but he's ADD. You are spot on. Okay. But here's the thing, my love. So ultimately, the solution to this problem is, it's actually kind of simple. And this is one of my favorite cards. You got the Magicians, okay? If you believe it, it must be true. If you don't believe it, it also must be true. The magical people are here to remind you that you are the creator of your reality. Take a deep look at your beliefs and release those that keep you limited and small. Expand your mind beyond what you have been told and step into the infinite possibilities that await you. So your relationship does require a change, Alicia. And one thing that I do know about relationships is the best way to change people is to change ourselves. So, and it doesn't mean be a different person. It means reacting to them differently, looking at them differently, feeling differently about them. That's what I mean by changing ourselves. When we've established a relationship, especially when we've been in a long-term relationship, or at least even a few months, we get into a cycle. So you already have expectations. You walk in energetically already with a frequency that affects them, and they affect you, and then you've gone into that thing, to that spiral. When you walk into the room with a different energy, it's going to affect them. They're going to change and look at you differently, and then you change the dynamic of the relationship. But you got to look at your beliefs, my love. You got to look at the things that are not serving you, okay? Does this really matter in 10, 20, 15 years time, or when I'm dead? Those are the things that you got to look at. So like I said, with my husband with the dishes, is it really going to matter that I told him exactly how I want the dishes made? No, it's not going to matter in 20 years time, in 5 years time. What matters is that we get along. So put things in a little bit of perspective. And I think if you start tweaking these things, I think you guys can work it out. But the reason why I think, again, that teacher, maybe she didn't obviously say it very well. It's not your fault. It's just that the work has to start from you in order to change the relationship, because we can't change other people, but what we can change is ourselves. When we change ourselves, other people react differently to us. And that's where you actually hold the power in the relationship. So does that make sense? 100%. So I'm going to go back because I saw you guys writing things apart from laughing with me with my amazing shapeshitter. Thank you. Okay, that was you. I thought there's a shapeshitter story, still makes me laugh. It's amazing. We'll have to check them out, Jacqueline. Very poor Irish accent, but better than mine. And I do have Irish parents. Well, you know, you could only try. That was even worse. Hello, Jacqueline. I sent one of my daughters my oracle deck, and this is what she said. Love this deck so much. The illustrations and messages are so unique and touching. Oh, Catherine, thank you so much. It makes me so happy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love it. Oh, I love it here and back. This is very nice, good advice. Change your energy and change your dynamic. Yes, 100%. Silverback, the first pancake is always lumpy. You guys are funny. Not being on my own for 35 years, I feel like I haven't done work on myself after my first marriage broke down. Then I went into the relationship quickly. Yeah, that's all right, girl. It's all a journey, and don't be hard on yourself. It's okay. Now it's the time to work on yourself, okay? And this is what I'm talking about. This is an opportunity. Don't focus on him so much. Focus on yourself. Dublin would absolutely cherish and adore you. Oh, thank you, Silverback. I would love to go to Ireland, by the way. I'm very drawn to go to Ireland and Scotland for some reason. I feel like there's something there for me. I also took them to an event last week, and everyone thought your deck was beautiful and loved the gold edges. Oh, thank you so much, Catherine. It makes me so happy and so proud. I know. I worked very hard on them, and I'm getting such good feedback and such good reviews, which makes me so happy because I did put a lot of work into them. I basically designed something that I would want, you know. And so the more I even play with them, the more I discover. So it's just so fun. Sometimes I want to be free. I think we all feel that way, Alicia. But take some time to reflect on what I said, okay? And just don't worry. You got this, okay? It's the gospel. Maybe he's the right person to grow with and be vulnerable. That's scary, but it's brave. Good one, Carla. I love that. Absolutely. Tell your hubby I'll take the best care of you. Yeah, I think sometimes he'd be happy to give me up. He actually sent me a beautiful message today because he was telling me how proud he was because he started making his own candles, but he said I wouldn't have done that unless it was for you, you know, because I'm so like OCD, and not OCD, I'm not very OCD actually, more motivated than anything else. Jessica, all right, my love, what's your question? And then I've got Carla. Yeah, he's incredible. I love my husband. Maybe one day I'll get him to say hi on the live. A guy asked for my phone number a few weeks ago, and since then he messaged and met twice. It has gone fairly well, but something is off. I can't tell if it's my past trauma or his current actions. I want to ghost him, and at the same time I would like to be open-minded and make friends. Amazing. You're welcome, Alicia. So one thing I will say, Jessica, ghosting somebody is only necessary if somebody is dangerous or dangerous. I'm not a fan of ghosting. Personally, I'm always the type of person that will usually tell somebody the reason why. I mean, how they react, it's their problem really at that point. I try to do it very lovingly. I remember once I went on a date with this guy, and I just didn't feel it, you know what I mean? And he took me to Lemonade, by the way, for lunch, which is fine. I guess he didn't want to spend a lot of money. But I bought the dessert, you know, so I was trying to like be fair. And anyway, as soon as I left, immediately after I left, I was like, all right, I'm not going to waste time. So I sent him a message and I was like, hey, listen, thank you so much for the amazing date. I'm so grateful. I so appreciate you seem you seem like a lovely guy. However, I just didn't get a vibe, you know. So I just wanted to let you know that. So I'm so grateful. And I wish you the best. And of course his reaction was negative. He's like, so you spend all my money and then, you know, and I was like, you spent like $20, dude. I was like, if $20 is a lot for a date, I don't think you should be dating to begin with. And then I told him, I was like, also, as a quick reminder, I did buy us dessert. And third, there was no contract. We agreed to meet each other, to get to know each other, and I'm just being honest. So take it or leave it however you want to, but I'm saving us time here. Then he never replied back, but I was like, the fudge, man. Okay, so, but let's see what comes up, Jessica. Feeling heat there. Okay. So sometimes you're right, by the way, our traumas can create certain things, but I feel like if you would have listened, I don't know if you were here at the group reading, I did talk a lot about the one way you're going to know if somebody is honest or not is through their actions. So it's a difference between love bombing, okay? And because when somebody love bombs, they'll go above and beyond, and then they'll do things for you that are crazy. It's more about, do they say something and do they follow through with that? Yeah, I understand. And it's good that you have that concern, okay? But let's see. Okay. So the first card that you got, important psychic insights. Events behind the scenes. Release fears that hold you back. Memories from your history or childhood. Issues regarding children. Romanticizing the past. Time to buckle down and get things done. Honor your commitments. A guardian angel. Defend your beliefs and decisions. Stand your ground. Choose your battles wisely. Okay, so definitely what's coming up here, I think it's a bit of both. So I definitely feel like, obviously, there is this connection to your past, to your traumas, okay? And so because you still have this attachment, you're walking into relationships with a fear, Jessica. So the problem with that is, like you're saying, is when you walk in with that fear, you cannot see the truth, because fear, of course, creates distance, right? So what I'm hearing here is that you got to find a way to trust yourself a little bit more. And what do I mean by that is, like, if you walk into a situation with fear, you can create situations which can cause fear, right? But if you walk into a situation trusting yourself or learning, is like, listen, I'm gonna be okay. I know I can figure this out. I know I'm smart enough, brave enough, and I know I can get enough insights to know if I need to walk away or not. But if you walk away with that frequency, is like, oh my God, what if I repeat the past? I don't trust myself. I don't know what I'm doing. You create even more chaos, and it's almost like you put that fog over there, and then you just can't read the signs. And so I'm not hearing here so much about what it is about him. This is really a lesson about you learning to trust yourself, the adult self of your version. And what I like to do a lot of the times is, Jessica, that we got to remember that there are many parts of us. We're not just one being. You have a healer, you have a protector, you have a warrior, you have a parent within you, you have a child, you have a wounded part. So when I walk into these relationships and these situations, I'm like, who do I need in this situation to know the answers that I'm seeking? So if I were you and I walk into this situation, I would call forth my protector, my warrior. And I'd be like, it doesn't mean I'm aggressive or defensive or anything like that. It means I'm like, I know that this version of me is at the forefront. And so she's looking out for things for me so that I can relax and sit down and enjoy myself. So again, it's releasing the fears that hold you back, okay? Yeah, be mindful, but it's also like, it's like you're almost allowing your inner child to be in this space as opposed to you, the adult self. So the inner child does not feel safe, does not feel grounded, it's seeing the world from like this absolute terror place. And of course, it's just going to create fight or flight, and then you can't make decisions because, again, you're seeing it from that inner child, especially when that inner child is wounded. So what I'm hearing here is very, very clearly is like, you got to start embodying the version of you that is already healed, that already has the answers, because you got to trust parts of you. You're not going to have all the answers. You're going to make mistakes, but the point is you're not going to get to the point where it's really bad and you're seriously in danger, unless, of course, there's some karma there or whatever. Of course, always listen to yourself. I mean, there's always obvious signs, guys, when it comes to abuse, okay? Look at the way that they treat other people. Look at the way that they treat waiters, okay? Look at the way that they speak to, I mean, I wouldn't go with family because I treat my family pretty badly, to be quite honest. I mean, so maybe that's not the best one to go off. But for some people, that can be a big red flag, okay? I have to really control myself around my family because I got so much resentment and anger. But I try my hardest not to be a total a-hole. But in general, you know, I like to think I treat most people with decency and respect, especially a waiter or something like that. But when I was damaged, when I was abusive, I would abuse other people, okay? Do they say that they're going to do something? Do they follow through? Do they say they're going to call you and then not call you? Does that make sense? So there are things that you can look at and pay attention that are going to give you that get to know their friends, get to know, you know, their family. There are things like they will, and a predator will look for your weaknesses, okay? And they know how to catch him. I've had horrible experiences with that because because of desperation, because I wanted a relationship so bad, and I got myself in like really bad places because of that desperation. They smell it a mile away. But eventually over time I built up. Why? Because I started loving myself. I started healing myself. And the healing part is where you build that safety within yourself, where you trust yourself, you learn from your past, and you honor yourself. One of the things that I told myself is like, if I see any red flags, I am walking away from that relationship, and I am not compromising. I am not making excuses. I'm not giving him a second chance. There is no when, if, but, how, none of that. Because how many times do I have to go through that in order until I get it? Every time it's the same freaking story. So but you also got to give people a chance to prove it to you. So again, not jumping into something that is new, taking your sweet ass time to get to know somebody, making sure that you're always in safe spaces. Those are the things that you have control over, that you can make sure that are happening. And also putting your needs first. So if somebody says, let me walk you at home by yourself, and there's a part of you that like says, I don't feel safe with that because there's nobody else there, and you're like, no, thank you. I've got it. I so appreciate it, but maybe next time. He has stood me up twice, but had a decent excuse. I don't know his entire situation, so I'm trying not to judge and jump to conclusions. Okay, so again, things happen, but like for me, how did he react? How did he explain to you? Did he give you enough notice? Did he do it at the last second? And is it a repetitive recurrence thing, right? And sometimes people just don't have their shit together. Doesn't mean that they're a bad person, but they just don't have their shit together. And then you got to ask yourself, this is for me too. Like, pretty simple, right? So if somebody sits, and stood you up, like as in you were at the restaurant and he didn't show up, absolutely fucking not. You know, once, maybe twice, no. That's not a coincidence. You're just not capable of communication, which of course is going to leak into your relationship, which if you think it's a problem now, just wait until 5 years later, because it's going to be the main problem in your relationship. So again, you got to start, and again, am I making excuses for him? Am I letting him get, but he said that like his cousin died. So did he really? Or is he just like, again, you got like, people may say things sometimes. So again, I hear you, what you're saying, girl, but it's like, this is a lesson for you to trust yourself. Again, guys, don't make it about the other person. The other people are going to do what they're going to do. You got to put the power back in your own hands and start really looking at the situation for what it is. So again, if he stood you up, it can happen. I get it. Like I've had to like call somebody at the last minute. So I'm so fucking sorry. This happened and like my house exploded and here's the photos to prove to you that it happened. How can I make it up to you? That's a genuine, I'm sorry. But sometimes people don't care. And so they're just like, something better came up and they're just going to make up an excuse. So that's for you to figure out. But for me, it's like once, okay, twice, maybe, 3 times, no, we're done. Because obviously I'm not priority enough for your life, and you got to ask yourself, would I do that to them? And if the answer is no, then you got your answer. So we oftentimes put other people's feelings and needs before our own because that's what we were taught to do, but that's not the right thing to do, especially if you don't know them. You don't owe them shit. Okay? Now, if it's a family member or somebody that you had a long relationship with, again, very different situation. But yeah, so Jessica, my advice here is look at this as the big lesson. You're self-discovering who you are. My intuition has never failed me, but I fail to listen to it. I have to practice trusting it more. 100%, girl. And again, like I wasn't there. We'd have to really look at the context of the situation. But I feel like at the end of the day, sometimes with the relationships, it's not even the relationship that is the message, is like what you're learning in this relationship. This relationship can really teach you this and help you understand, I was right again. How many times do I have to go through this before I just know? When somebody has, and this is a question that you can ask yourself, Jessica, that it might help you a lot. If I was somebody who truly loved myself and respected myself, what would I do? What would they do in this situation? Now, I'm not talking about somebody who's arrogant, somebody who has very good boundaries. They do not tolerate certain things. Somebody who has a lot of self-love and respect, they do not tolerate certain things. The shit that I would put up with, I remember I was so in love with this guy. Guys, I'm not even joking. I thought he was going to show up. He lied to me. I waited 6 hours outside of my house. I mean, I was like 14, but whatever. But still, looking back, that's a big lesson. I waited 6 hours thinking that this guy was going to show up. 6 hours. Now, 5 minutes, you're late. I'm gone. Bye. Okay, but because I had no self-respect. So again, and anyone who pushes a boundary that you put in place is not for you. Yeah, again, and it depends again on the situation, guys. Like, we got to give people grace. We are humans as well. Like, we got to remember that things do happen. things can get in the way. If somebody has kids, if somebody has a family, like there's so many things that can be. But again, you really got, like, you've got to start learning to trust yourself, and you got to start learning to put things in perspective. It's like twice, same excuse, same story, same cousin passed away. At some point you're like, am I, or it's like, no, this is a genuine, obvious problem. But it's also, how did they apologize? Do you know what I mean? It's like, if I do something like that, man, I am apologizing, and I am going to show you evidence, and I'm going to be like, I am so sorry, dude. How can I make it up to you? I'll take you out. I am so sorry. Please understand. And then when I see you, I'm going to apologize again and shout you dinner. That's what I would do. Now, you might not have to go that far, but that goes to show that somebody's being genuine about a situation. So just a little bit of information there. Thank you so much, Jessica. I appreciate the donation. Okay, and then Carla, what's your question, my love? I've been working on my way out of grief and legal battles. They are looking little like they are clearing up as of spring, but now I'm faced with another issue that I have chosen. I can't read apparently. I have choose whether to take on another fight, or if I should plan to leave it and adapt to the issue my own way. I need to discern if is potential conflict is a lure drawing me back in, or is it a loose end of the long life of karma I'm closing. Okay. Let's see what comes up. It's funny, I think you got the warrior thing last time, the warrior spirit. Oh, there we go. Hi, Piggy. No. You do not knock that over. Nice try. You fool me once, buddy. But you're adorable. Aren't you, little cutie pie? Yeah, I love you. Okay, bye-bye. So, Carla, I'm not getting a direct answer right now. I'm just getting bits and pieces of things that you need, but I'm trying to focus on getting, like, what this is. So just give me a second. I think we need more. Whoop, whoop. Their pops are so cute. Okay, so I'm going to start talking because, still, okay, that's good. All right. So you got the green witches, which essentially what I'm hearing here is that like, you're going to be getting some signs. Okay, so I think don't make a decision just yet on what you need to do, but you do have this warrior spirit, this warrior life. And oftentimes when I hear a warrior spirit, you got to think about the hero's journey, right? The hero's journey is very tough. It's not an easy one. There are rewards, though, to it. So, a couple of things. So, one of the things is look for the signs. You're going to be getting signs, okay? You're going to know what to do once you get the signs. But I'm going to read the Knight's Paladin. They're here to awaken the warrior spirit and remind you of your inner strength. You are being called to rise above challenges with courage and resilience. This is not a time to see yourself as a victim, but as a warrior ready to face life head on. Trust in your power, stand tall in your truth, and know that bravery is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to move forward despite it. The choice to rise is yours. So, rise above the darkness, rise above the problem, rise above the people, rise above the situation. So again, I'm not going to give you an answer of what you need, but what I'm hearing here essentially is like, what does it mean when you think about rising above something? Does it mean not getting involved and letting it go? Or does it mean, no, I need to fight this because that is the wrong thing to do? So Carla, you got to look inside yourself. But again, you're going to be getting signs. You're going to be getting information as to what to do. But the good thing is I do see the leprechauns, which is a good sign. And then you did to get the wheel as well. So the leprechauns are a good sign that luck is on your side. Good things are happening. So I do feel like what you're saying is like things are starting to take a bit of a turn for you in your favor. And then you got awakening. Look at the things from a different perspective, a temporary standstill. It's important to be yourself. And you also got the forest fairies, which are all about, Silverback is like, yep, the leprechauns. Something about you being yourself again. It's like coming up twice here. So I don't know what that means, but you got to know what that means to you. But essentially, you got to change your perspective. So what I'm hearing here as well is like you're looking at the situation very black and white. It's not as black and white as you think. There is more to it. There is more ways to look at the situation. There is more. I think. Again, I always like to describe this as like whenever we do anything, we just see things like this, but there is just so much more. And by opening up our perspective, we open up other possibilities and solutions to the problem. The other thing is brilliant new ideas and inspiration, seeing the truth of a situation, a challenging beginning. So again, there is more. And then of course I see that it finished with the wheel, which is immediate. So as time of positive changes situationally suddenly moves forward, fortune is on your side. So as much as there are so many problems, Carla, I do see that there's a lot of luck on your side. I do see that things can favor you. But again, at the end of the day, I'm not getting so much a yes or no what you should do, but what I am getting here is that you need to change your perspective. You need to look at things from a whole different perspective. The things that you look at will change depending on the way that you look at it, right? So I would say right now, start looking for signs, start asking for signs. Again, rise above it. And what does that mean to you to rise above it? What does it mean to you to look at things from the highest perspective possible? Again, you got to know in your heart what that is. And also, if you're not quite sure, then ask for clarity in that. So, hey, Jamie. You guys are hilarious. Whatever that means, okay, Carla. But you do have good things on your side. And again, it's saying stand in your integrity, stand with who you are. But you also need to change the way that you're looking at the situation. I think you're looking at it from very black and white. And I like your perspective. I don't feel like you're looking at it in the sense there's like wrong or right. It's not about wrong or right. It's about different, if that makes sense. So there is more ways to look at this. I'm not quite sure how or how you're going to figure that out. But that's what they're pushing for. Because once you start changing the way that you look at it again, it's going to give you new ideas. The guinea pig is like playing with my foot. Don't bite me though, because that would really suck. Jamie, welcome. Good to see you, mate. Yeah, I wish I could give you a bit more of like a clear, like yes or no, this is what you need to do, but I can only give you what the cards are giving me, because sometimes they don't want me to give you the answer. Right, how do I live peacefully? How do I live as a peaceful warrior who wants to be art instead of stepping on neck? So, what are one of the things that warriors do? They train. They practice. And one of the things that I will always say about a warrior is that they need a combination of three things: strong body, strong mind, and strong spirit. CG, welcome. So you need all three. And there's this guy that I follow who I really love, who's called Master Shahani. He's a monk in Germany. He's got a temple in Germany, and he's a warrior. He's a monk warrior. and he always talks about warrior fist and monk heart. And he can kill somebody if he wants to, but because he has the monk heart, he doesn't do it because, of course, he's balanced in that sense. But he can if he need to, and just knowing that he can gives him the peace and the strength that he needs to overcome any challenge. So I feel like this is kind of somehow, I don't know how to spell his name, but it's Shahani. Let me see if I can get the proper spelling. He's becoming pretty popular now. I got some weird Chinese dude. He's not Chinese. Okay, here we go. So it's Shi Hang Yi. Shahanyi. So I love his philosophies and stuff, and I think that's essentially what you need to start looking at. It's like the way that they look at things are a little bit different than how most people. Oh, I love that, Carla. Yeah, so check him out, but I think you can get some wisdom from him for sure, because it's definitely going to help out. But first and foremost, congratulations for overcoming the first thing, and second of all, good luck on your journey for the next thing. But that's life too, you know. It's like one thing finishes, the other one starts, you know. So yeah, but sending you love, Carla. Yeah, sometimes it's just clearing out the way for the next, you know. Oh, you're welcome. All right, guys, so let me check something. Okay, so I think it's time to retire. It's already been a couple of hours. I got so many things to do. Got to feed the animals, really. That's really what it comes down to. But I hope you guys enjoyed the session. Of course, make sure that you check out all of my courses. I've got a new course, just a quick reminder, I've got a new course out on Insight Timer, Awaken Your Psychic Gifts. I've got a ton of stuff on there, meditations and stuff, so go and check those out. I'm going to try and schedule another live next week, and I think that's it. So any more questions, guys, before we leave? If you need to, now it's your time to ask while I put away the cards. If not, we will close out. Keep smiling. Keep being grumpy. Good philosophy there. Oh, thank you, Kay. Yeah, it's so nice to meet you, by the way, guys. For those of you who are new, come and join the gang. It's so good to see and meet new people, you know, and of course the OGs who always show up. I love you guys. I'm so grateful for your support and just for hanging out. It's just kind of like a fun group, you know what I mean? We all get to hang out and have fun, really. Oh, sorry. See? Hamster cage. Hamster cages everywhere. All right, guys. Love you so much. Have a beautiful night. And as always, have a magical day. I will see you soon, guys. Bye.